Welcome to The Explainer. So, have you ever looked back at your childhood and suddenly realized that someone you thought you knew was actually a complete enigma? Well, today we're diving into a really fascinating text called The Metaphysical Mystery of the Grandmother. We're going to unravel a deeply personal story from the author, Xu Feng, that literally transforms from a nostalgic family memory into a profound cosmic epiphany. It's a wild ride, so let's jump right into it.
We kick things off with these ultimate, heavy existential questions. Who is my grandmother after all? And, by extension, who am I? You know, the author was feeling completely lost later in life, desperately seeking answers to these exact questions. He literally looked everywhere. He asked the sun, the moon, the stars. He looked to the mountains, rivers, the wind, and the rain. He even questioned gods and immortals. And the universe's only answer? Just mystery. Total silence. And it was exactly this cosmic silence that forced him to look backward, to trace his roots all the way back to his grandmother. And when he did, he suddenly realized that the woman who raised him was entirely, almost frighteningly, extraordinary.
You see, back when she was just telling him childhood fairy tales, she would casually drop these incredibly profound statements. She'd say things like, "If one contemplates the heavens and earth incessantly, profound principles will eventually become clear." Or she would just casually sigh and say, "Let's leave it to fate." Now, as a young, admittedly ignorant grandson, he never thought to ask her what she actually meant by that. I mean, how does one actually contemplate the heavens and earth? What really are these profound principles, right? Well, it actually wasn't until more than 20 years after she passed away that it finally hit him. Her words held this enigmatic wisdom that was just entirely out of place for her actual station in life.
Now, the first major clues to her true nature are really found in the stark contrast between ordinary expectations and her bizarre reality. On paper, she was an illiterate peasant woman, but in reality, she knew countless complex fairy tales and spoke with such incredible eloquence that she could completely silence highly educated men. Even the author's uncle, these learned scholars basically had no choice but to sit there and listen to her principles. Plus, she never engaged in standard religious practices, no burning incense, no worshiping Buddha, but she had this unbelievably strict personal discipline. She absolutely refused to touch meat. No beef, mutton, chicken, fish, nothing. She wouldn't even taste a single drop of an egg, which makes you wonder, right? Why would someone with zero formal religious vows enforce such a strict, pure lifestyle on themselves?
Her second really bizarre trait was this obsessive cleanliness. But we're not just talking about having neat hair or wiping down a table. Her intense focus was drawn to the deepest, darkest corners of the physical world, the exact places everyone else just naturally ignores. We are talking about way under the heavy cabinets, the deepest corners of the walls, behind the doors, inside the bucket next to the stove. In these hidden, dark spaces, her environment was actually kept cleaner than the surfaces everyone could easily see. It's almost like she was meticulously maintaining order in the hidden shadows of the world. It really reflects a profoundly different psychological and spiritual focus than, well, pretty much anyone else.
Okay, so our spiritual detective case builds even further with what the author calls the summer wheat harvest incident. Picture this: the scorching, unpredictable weather of summer. Golden, ripe wheat absolutely must be harvested urgently before a storm rolls in. It's quite literally a make or break moment for a farming family. But during this intense rush, a tiny little piece of wheat gets stuck in the grandmother's throat. Just a minor scratch, really. But her reaction? She instantly throws her sickle to the ground, stands up straight, and announces, "Whether you continue harvesting is your business. I will never engage in farming again." And just like that, she was done. The very next day, she marches into the county town, rents a storefront, and opens the Zong family steamed bread shop. And within a single year, this shop is famous far and wide. Think about that. She abandoned a lifetime of agriculture over a scratched throat and just effortlessly conquered the business world overnight.
If you thought that was intense, consider this chilling event. This happened when the author's father was young. He got into a really heated argument with the grandmother and decided he wanted to teach her a lesson. So, in an act of just wild, extreme rebellion, he takes a pig-killing knife, literally stabs himself through his own ankle bone and tendons, loops a rope through his flesh, and hangs himself upside down from a fruit tree in their courtyard. I mean, any normal mother would be absolutely terrified, screaming, panicking. But the grandmother? She just calmly walks over, looks disdainfully at her bleeding son hanging there upside down, points to her own neck and says, "Son, stabbing your ankle is nothing remarkable. If you want to stab, stab here next time." And then she just walked away, like it was nothing. Her son watched her leave and was completely, utterly conquered. He tried to break her, and she just completely dismantled his rebellion without even raising her voice.
As the author's mother so keenly observed at the time, if your grandmother were a man, she would pierce a hole through the sky. And honestly, these extraordinary traits prove she wasn't just some quirky relative. She possessed this commanding, almost terrifying power. I mean, how could an illiterate woman know so much about the universe? How could a mother feel literally zero distress at her son's horrific self-mutilation? How could she drop her entire livelihood in a split second and just wildly succeed at something completely new? She completely transcended her mortal role. She was an anomaly, a total mystery operating by an entirely different set of physical and spiritual rules.
So here is where the real tragedy of the story hits. When the author was just a boy in the 5th grade, this extraordinary woman sat him down. She looked at him and said, "Let me tell you about the origins of our family. Take some time to write it down." It was an open invitation to solve the mystery of who they really were. But, being an ignorant, playful kid, he just brushed her off. He casually replies, "Grandma, let's talk about it later," because he just wanted to go play. But that opportunity never came back. Shortly after that brief little conversation, his grandmother suddenly fell ill and passed away. As he writes, looking back, one misstep became an eternal regret. I lost my roots.
Because he missed that one fleeting chance to actually record his true origins, he ended up spending years feeling completely unmoored. It sparked this massive existential crisis where he compared his life to duckweed, just drifting on a vast, endless sea. And if you think about it, without roots, you are just floating aimlessly. You're pushed around by the winds and the currents without any real sense of direction. You don't know where you came from, which means you have absolutely zero idea where you are actually supposed to go. And that is the true danger of ignoring the profound mysteries right in front of us. We risk becoming permanently lost in the drift.
But wait, the massive plot twist hits years later. The author is reading the Bible one day, and suddenly, boom, the mystery of his grandmother snaps perfectly into focus. He's reading about John the Baptist, about how heaven sent John as a precursor, someone tasked with preparing the road before Jesus arrived. In this flash of insight, he concludes that his grandmother's bizarre life wasn't just random eccentricity, it was a highly calculated divine setup. Before he was even born, he realizes the kingdom of heaven sent his grandmother to earth specifically to act as his precursor. Her impossibly strict habits, her chilling stoicism, her cryptic fairy tales, they were all breadcrumbs. They were explicitly designed to enlighten, test, and ultimately prepare him for his own eventual spiritual awakening.
Through countless sleepless nights and remembering her instruction to contemplate the heavens and earth, he finally understood what she was trying to teach him. He unlocked those profound principles. By following the clues of her life, he claims to have actually deciphered what he calls the 36 8-diagram arrays. You can think of this as the ultimate source code, or the structural blueprint of fate itself, an intricate cosmic architecture laid down by the greatest creator. His grandmother's life was literally the cipher key he needed to unlock his understanding of the universe. And this realization left him with an immense sense of gratitude. A gratitude for a divine love so unimaginably vast that billions of years wouldn't even be enough to repay it. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to turn this cosmic realization right back to you. We so often dismiss the strange, strict, or eccentric people in our own families as just being, quirky. But what if they aren't? Who are the seemingly eccentric people in your own life who might actually be planting the seeds for your ultimate destiny? Are there grandmothers in your past whose cryptic words you totally ignored who are actually sent to prepare you for something massive? Take a moment today to look back at your own roots. The answers to the deepest mysteries of the universe might just be hiding in the memories of the people who raised you. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and hey, keep contemplating those profound principles.